Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories like these. Now, let's get into today's story video. Ex-wife left for AP and returned after 10 years and asks to take her back. I'm looking for advice on how to approach the matter. My ex-wife, 35 female, and I, 34 male, refer to her as ex, whereas my neighbor App and my neighbor's wife, 37 female, refer to her as my wife, and I married in 2009. In 2010, we had our first child. While she was sleeping in November of 2010, a seductive message pooped on her phone. I checked her phone, and it was from our next-door neighbor. I read every single communication, which included flirting, exchanging nudes, and even scheduled hotel meetups. This had been going on since the first week of our marriage. My whole world seemed to fall in front of me. I saved screenshots of every message on my phone. The next day, I phoned M and informed her about the affair. They had been married for 4 years and had their first child nearly at the same time as we did. I approached my wife and informed her that I was going to divorce her. She began weeping and everything, but I didn't think about it. I also performed a paternity test on our kid's son, since the affair chronology coincided with the date of conception. When I got home from work after 2 days, our kid was sobbing in our bed, and X was nowhere to be seen. Then I discovered a note from her in which she said that she did not love me, that she had departed with AP, and that I should not contact them. I knew it was coming, but I didn't think a mother could abandon her kid, who was approximately 6 months old at the time, and go with her boyfriend. After that, I went to M's residence. Her spouse had sent her the same letter. I felt terrible for her since she was suffering from postpartum depression, had just delivered her kid a few months before, and was alone. Also, the paternity test results confirmed that he was my son. I attempted to call X's relatives, but they, too, had no idea where she was and were taken aback by her behavior. Her father even said that if she returned, she would not be permitted to enter their home. They effectively disowned her. L was quite helpful. She started coming over to my house to babysit the kids and even nursed both of them, her and mine. We became like family over time. My youngster addressed her as mom and had only known her as such. We also made the decision to go on dates. A year later, we were engaged, and we married in 2013. In 2015, we had our first kid. We often discussed our ex-partners and how we were frequently disrespected by them. We were a happy family. When my kid unintentionally saw a photo of my ex after delivery, so it featured X, me and him, in 2018, we chose to tell him that her biological mother X had died in a car accident years before and L had taken care of him since he was 6 months old. I received an anonymous email 2 days ago. When I opened it, it said, "I want to see my son and reclaim my family." We haven't divorced yet. I knew it had to be X. L was shown this. L began to panic and beg if I would take her back. I calmed her down by telling her that she had a bad history and that I would never abandon her. I'd never give her back. Now, I'm at a loss on what to do. I'm not going to accept her back, but should I let her meet my son? Should I take advantage of my son's chance to meet with her biological mother? Thank you for your prompt answer. I've left out a lot of information to share with you. The first is that I divorced her before to marrying M. I believe she has no idea since she was not expecting to be found here. The second error is that I wrote L instead of M by accident. I had full custody of my kids since X was not involved, but now that she is back, I'm not sure whether my full custody will be maintained. Update. Let me start by noting that we did not need to go to court or hire a lawyer. Some of you stated that since she abandoned us years ago, she would have no parental rights over my kid. To check the story, I called a legal acquaintance who verified that she might face a large fine, loss of parental rights, and prison time. I informed him about the time period of abandonment and inquired as to my possibilities of success in my case. He informed me that if a parent does not have physical touch with his or her kid for more than a year, he or she would almost certainly lose parental rights. After hearing those words, I breathed a sigh of relief. I also enrolled my kid in therapy so that I could tell him the truth about his biological mother. I wanted to know why she contacted me after 10 years, so I asked her father, who is still a great friend of mine and provides me wonderful advice, whether X had contacted his family. It turns out that she had been contacting her sister for money on and off for the last 10 years, but her sister is no longer willing to assist her since she was asking for a little more money. I inquired about her problems and whether or not exposing her to my son would be a good idea. She merely has a minimum wage job and lives in a tiny apartment with 3 roommates, he said. I felt awful for her after hearing him say this, but she deserved it. He said that she would have a negative impact on our kid and that it would be best not to expose him to X next. I phoned her sister and questioned her about their discussions over the previous 10 years. She revealed everything to me. How X only approached her for money since she had no money left after paying rent for food and other utilities. X never inquired about my kid, just about money. I questioned her about the connection between X and AP and she said, he has been in jail for assault since 2015. I'm not sure why, but hearing this news made me pleased. I inquired as to whether or not X is aware of the divorce. She said that X is unaware of the divorce and continues to believe that we are lawfully married. I urged her to tell X everything: divorce, child custody, my new family, and the fact that she has no right to my kid. I told him everything. And she was taken aback by X's behavior. She had no idea a mother could be so callous to her own kid. She was taken aback when she learned about AP. It's been 30 days and X hasn't gotten back to us. Family counseling is going well, and we've agreed to formally adopt each other's children. I doubt X would contact since her sister may have informed her of her legal status and that engaging an attorney would be a waste of money. Story 2. I think my wife is thinking about cheating. On the other hand, my wife was having her therapy session through Zoom the other day. Normally, I don't pay attention or care to pay attention, but she was making certain that I didn't overhear this time by encouraging me to play a game and put on my noise-canceling headphones before she spoke. She also exited the room to check on me and make sure I was all okay, which I appreciated. This behavior led me to raise an eyebrow, and I, of course, paid attention to what was being said. To see her best friend. My wife is planning a trip out of state, which is quite typical. This is despite the fact that she said during her session that her ex-boyfriend up in the mountains had been contacting her on Facebook. Previously, she had told her therapist that she and her boyfriend used to like crazy whenever they saw each other, and that being in a relationship never stopped them. Also, I overheard her say that although she would not initiate anything if he did, she would not intervene to halt his initiation. I couldn't hear what the therapist was saying before she added, "You're meant to counsel me to be a decent person and not do it." I couldn't hear what she was saying before she added, the fact that they, her and her ex, had addressed it in public as a segue to say, "I was surprised that you didn't want me to listen today, since it has never been an issue before," came up after her session. You and your ex were just mentioned on your friend's blog, and the fact that you're heading to Connecticut makes me believe that something is going on there, my wife went on to clarify. The reason for this was that I didn't want you to hear us talking about the chance that we won't be able to have children, or how scared I am about your impending fertility test. Although she assured me all night that she would never cheat, she just lied in my face about what they taught. I am certain that she has not cheated, but I am just unhappy at the moment. Update. It was only after that I brought it up with my counselor. Based on my verbal account of this story, he believes I handled it maturely and that she seemed to be being honest with me throughout the experience. My father just died away and my wife has been a rock, taking care of everything while I was at work. I appreciate all she done. Her trip is slated to begin on March 17th. Originally, I had planned to come as well, but I'm now dealing with a lot at home, and with all that has transpired recently, she reestablished our connection.